Creative Magic Club. What's up? This is Sarah Mack and welcome to Creative Magic Club. Together, we'll discover inspirational stories of creative entrepreneurs living out their dreams, doing the work they are most passionate about, and building wealth in magical and fun ways. While building a six-figure income as a writer and coach, helping other women to launch their dream businesses, I've connected with so many incredible people and seen it proven again and again that you can thrive financially doing whatever it is you are passionate about. I'm here to share life-changing strategies for mindset, making money, and reaching more people with your work in a business and life filled with creativity, freedom, and fun. Hi everyone! Today I'm so excited to introduce you to my wonderful guest, Louisa Havers. She's a previous client of mine, and having helped her with some of her copy and her website, as tends to happen with a lot of my clients, I just become really obsessed with their work because she's so interesting and I love everything that she's doing. So I'm really excited to introduce you to her on the show today. She's one of the first 22 energy alignment mentors in the world. She's an advanced Pranic healer, an advanced Akashic record consultant, and an international life and business coach. Louisa left her life on the hamster wheel of survival and stepped out of her comfort zone, leaving her senior executive job in social services to reinvent herself as an entrepreneur, running a successful network marketing business and international life and business coaching business. She helps high achievers and service-based entrepreneurs increase their performance and magnetism in life and business, and has served over 7,000 people across North America, Canada, Europe, and Australasia, empowering them to make life-changing transformations so that they love the life they live. Hi, Louisa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm really honoured to be here. Thank you.
Yay. So why don't you kick it off with telling us a little bit about your story of how you how you got to where you are today and, as an energy alignment practitioner. What's that story and how you fell into that?
Well, I was going to say, I didn't really fall into it because there were lots of pivotal moments along my journey to where I finally had the courage to leave my role as a senior manager in social services. And I would say one of the key things was the fact that I joined social services in 2003. So I actually worked for them for 13 years. I had intended to go and stay there for about 3. You know how it can go. But of course, in a large organization, you have lots of opportunities. And so kept getting promoted all the time. So it felt like you were working in different companies, doing a really big range of different management jobs, etc. And in 2004, my father died after a period of ill health. So he was ill health retired, and then he sadly passed away. And he never had the retirement that he always used to talk about because he was working really hard. And he always used to say he's working full time, doing that thing that I think anyone who's worked in corporate does. You're in the office at the crack of dawn, you're leaving, late at night, missing your family life and all the things you love doing. And he would say, when I retire, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to go on painting holidays, etc., etc. And then, of course, it didn't happen. And then I found myself repeating the cycle. And that's what started to infiltrate into me of thinking, is this really it? I'm going to literally be working my way to the grave and not having time for a more fulfilling life. And then what started to happen was I wasn't taking action quick enough. So the universe decided to give me a nice big dose of ill health and burnout.
I know that story.
You know that one as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like my big wake up call of, right, hang on a second. Do I really, I got shingles, which is one of the things my dad had at one point as well. And I then got post virus chronic fatigue, I think that's what they called it, for about 6 months. I was just like knackered, sleeping all the time. Didn't have that, energy to do all the things that I love doing. And for me, that was the turning point of really recognizing, hang on, what do I really want to do? What do I love doing? Because at that point, actually no, because I was so busy. And then through my network marketing business, where I actually started thinking, right, I've got to give myself a pay rise. I've got to start step by step changing what I'm doing. I refound my love for personal development and was introduced to energy work. And then it was like, my word, what have I been missing by spending all my time working and working in someone else's business? And of course, the more senior you become in a huge organization, you're just chairing business meetings, making difficult decisions. And it just was sucking the life out of me. So that's kind of sort of 14 years in the quickest way I can describe it, of thinking of how I went from thinking this is what I was going to do all my life, you know, working for social services, to leaving and realizing that I was going to set up my own coaching business, because that was the bit that I found that I loved with working in management, was helping people through the coaching that I was doing there. And I was like, actually, why not create a life around all the things that I love doing, rather than trying to squeeze those bits in around the work stuff? Does that make sense?
Yeah, total sense. And it's funny because there's so many parallels in my own journey as well. It was a similar thing. I was working in film production, had a massive burnout. My body was like, no, like not giving you the option to do this anymore. So you better think of something else. And yeah, and that was the same kind of internal reflection process that happened for me when I was chronically fatigued and didn't have the energy to do anything. Was like, oh, well, what do I love doing? Like, what would really make me happy? What is it that I want to put back into my life now that everything has been put on pause? And I'm curious, did you step into, and it was the same for me as well, like learning more about personal development, mindset and energy work was the thing that I really lent on to help me bring my health and energy back. And then obviously, you know, got really passionate about sharing that work with others as well. And so I'm curious if you first got into energy work for the purposes of your own healing, or did you immediately step into learning how to become a teacher?
For my own healing, I remember doing a health and wellness, through my network marketing, one of the things that we often did were health and wellness fairs. And I had great fun doing them with colleagues. And one of my friends who was in my network marketing team, or still is in my network marketing team, is the Pranic healer. And she was raving about Pranic healing. And I didn't, you know, I thought of it as being like Reiki, didn't really know what that was. And I remember doing this event where we had put on a charity event for a dear friend of hers who has now sadly passed away from cancer. We were raising money for her. So we had got about 30 or 40 people together for this amazing health and wellness night. Everyone had bought tickets. All the money was going to this young lady's charity. And it was wonderful because we had all these other practitioners there as well. And I remember seeing this lady doing pranic healing. I could see it out of the corner of my eye because I was doing the presentation. So I couldn't go over to her and, you know, ask her as the evening was going on. But at the end, I went up to her because all evening I had seen her seemingly just waving her hands over people. It looked like she was doing nothing. And then people getting up and going, oh my God, that was amazing. I was like, what on earth is going on over there? So I went over and I just said, I'm really curious. Kate, my friend, keeps raving about this. I know it's really late because it was like 11 o'clock at night by then. Any chance I could, you know, see what are you doing? And I will never forget because she got me to sit down in like a receptive meditative position. And she just asked me to close my eyes. And then she said, you'd give me like a stress relief. And I felt her come over and work on here on this side of my body. And so I told, anyway, so then it finished. It was only about 10 minutes long. And when she finished, she said to me, how was it? And I said, oh, it was amazing. Actually, I felt you when you came over and worked on this side of my body. And she went, I didn't move. And I was like, what do you mean you didn't move? I felt it. And that literally just opened me up to, because I knew how I felt. I knew I'd felt her, but she was, you know, 6 feet, 8 feet away from me and hadn't moved. And so that for me just really wanted to explore that journey for myself and being able to do pranic healing, you know, myself and my family. But then I just got addicted to it because the more I learned about it, the more all the it was like the missing link for me, energy work. I've got a background in psychology, a degree in psychology and postgrad in counselling and stuff. And having done management for years, you're working with people all the time. So psychology has always really fascinated me. But it was the bringing in the energy piece, just got everything clicking into place. Because, of course, in psychology world, they don't really talk about things in terms of frequency and vibration and how you can actually feel things energetically. So that's how I got into it. So pranic healing was my sort of the gateway into the energy world for me.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think, and it does come across as being really magical purely for that fact, because people aren't really talking about it. You know, especially in England, I find as well, like definitely more in North American health and wellness communities. But it was the same for me too. When I was recovering, you know, I was doing everything. I was doing all the research, taking all the supplements, you know, shifting my self-care, my exercise, like reducing stress, you know, eating really well, getting coaching, getting therapy. And then I just got to that point where I'm like, I'm doing anything and I feel there's another level. And then that's when I started working with energy healers, and so much started shifting for me. Well, it was initially the mindset piece that led me to the energy work, because I find, yeah, once you shift your mindset mindset and energy are very closely related, but I feel it's like when you put the program in, like on the Google search in your brain of like, this is the result that we want, you know, my intuition brought me to these solutions. And I was like, oh yeah, it's the easiest way to shift things. And I'm really happy that we're talking about it, because I want more people to know about it, because it's so powerful and can really shortcut your progress, whether that's on healing, you know, shifting to a new life direction, creating bigger results in your business. Like I've really, you know, what people talk about, creating quantum leaps, when you suddenly go from here to like here, thanks to doing the energy work. So I'm really curious to hear a little bit more about how you incorporate that when you're working with people who are building businesses, and, you know, what are some of the common, you know, like blocks or problems that people come to you with, and how do you go about shifting them using energy work?
So one of the techniques that I use is called the energy alignment method, which I love coaching people on, because it's such a swift technique that you can do on your own and you can learn it really quickly. Also, as practitioner working with somebody, I can see what's going on for them, because we use muscle testing as to find out, to hack the subconscious and to find out what's going on in your energy field, or your human Wi-Fi, as I call it. So thinking of your aura, your energy field, sending out, holding thoughts, emotions and beliefs, all your memories, all your experiences, all in your field, sending out messages to the universe and attracting back more of the same to you. And you can use your body like a dowsing device. And by asking simple yes and no questions, you can find out what beliefs you're holding, what emotions you're holding that are holding you back in a specific thing. So, for example, I see a lot of my clients who are building their coaching businesses online, visibility, fear of visibility, being visible, things that have happened to people. You know, when we have to do reading out loud when you were a kid at school, and the teacher might not have been very kind to you, or perhaps somebody mocked you when you didn't read it right, for, you know, whatever it might be. We've all got those memories of what happened to us at school suddenly start to pop up disguised when you're running your own business, and you might not logically make the connection, but your energy field remembers. And so then it manifests as procrastination, things going wrong, the tech not working, whatever it might be. So visibility, fear of imposter syndrome are big ones. And also creating that, the money ceiling that people put on themselves, thinking that I'm only worth receiving this amount of money. And it might be linked to their corporate job, if they've done that transition from corporate to being an entrepreneur, and receiving money perhaps for something that's not linked to an hourly rate that they've been used to. And that's what I love about being able to do the energy work with people, because I think you're never finished. You know that you need to do so much more mindset and energy work that you think, so that you can manifest things more quickly and have more success that you want. So with the energy work and the strategy, then you are good to go in terms of building a business, because you need I think you need both pieces. And so that's what I do with my clients. I use the energy alignment method. I mix it up with pranic healing as well, because I know that so I'm coaching them with, energy alignment method, and I'll do pranic healing on at the same time to speed the process up with whatever, thought, emotion, belief that they're releasing. And then I also work with the Akashic records as well. So I get intuitive downloads and guides, sending messages so that I can share those with clients as well. So that's what I love, is having the real mix in there when I'm working with clients.
Full on magic from top to bottom. That's Louisa. I'm actually curious what you think about, like addressing childhood traumas. Like, is it always necessary to go into that moment where, you were shamed for something, or there was whatever it is, that moment that created fear around being seen or speaking out or money or whatever it was? Because I know sometimes, you can work with energy and clear things without consciously experiencing it. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are around that.
Absolutely. And I think it's in relation to whether that person needs to have the conscious awareness about what it's linked to let that resistance go. So I talk about energy as we're always in one of three states of energy. We're in flow. That's when everything's going really well. Clients are knocking on our doors. We're not even needing to kind of do reach out, etc. We're just attracting things. We're magnetic, and things are being attracted to us. Then we have resistant energy and reversed energy. So resistant energy is that push-pull. We're going in the right direction, but things are feeling a bit tough, a bit ugh. And reversed energy is when it's like, what is going on? I want to go over there, but I seem to be going in the wrong direction, literally. And the reversed and the resistant energy comes from those memories, the traumas, the beliefs that we have then created off the back of our experiences. And the way I work with clients is we ask if people need to know any more about why they're holding this resistance to do with something. And if they don't need to know any more, then we just let it go. And sometimes it says that we do need to know more, because we literally, how we do it is we follow the energy, which I just love. So you never quite know what someone's going to need to be able to have that breakthrough and to release that stagnation that's holding them back. So you don't necessarily have to dig if you don't want to. And equally, I can guide people through where they can become aware of it, and they don't have to tell me what it is, because I can literally just read their energy, and they don't have to regurgitate and share the whole story, because energetically, it's not good to keep regurgitating the whole story over and over again. You're adding more power and energy to those words. So, but of course, if you're needing to do it in the releasing part, perfect. But I think some of those techniques where you're going over things over and over again, you're just creating more and more neural pathways in your brain that are fusing that together. So you're just going to keep rethinking it over and over again. So that's one of the things that I think is powerful about it, is being able to release stuff without having to regurgitate the whole story all the time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because it's like, if we can avoid re-traumatizing ourselves, let's do that, please.
Yes.
Faster. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And what is like the message on your heart that you wish people knew, that, you really see people struggling with, that, unnecessarily, that you're really the most passionate about supporting people with?
I think I would say, is not underestimating how much mindset work you need to do as you're making a transition to really following your heart and to live your truth. And I think if you've been given that little quiet voice inside your heart that's saying, is there more to life than this? And I wonder if I could do this, is then to follow it, put your big girl pants on, your big boy pants on, and, take the action. And even however uncomfortable it might be when you first start doing it, because you've been given that little gem for a reason, and you can live the life that you really want to create. Because otherwise, if you don't, that little wondering is not going to go away. And I think that the risk of that is it can then become regret later on, when you think, I just didn't take action on that. I just was too afraid, too XYZ, just was stuck in my, the thinking mindset of that time, and didn't allow myself to be curious and wonder, what if? let's start exploring it and taking action, and step by step, because you don't have to see the whole pathway. You just have to have the courage to take that first step, and it's the first step that's often the scariest.
Yeah, I mean, well, I like to talk about it as brushing your teeth. It's like, if you don't want to have stinky breath, brush your teeth every day. But another analogy just popped into my head. It's kind of like taking a dog for a walk. It's like that with your brain. It's like you have to take, if you don't want the dog to poop all over the house, you have to take it outside. If you want to have a good mindset that supports you to take action in the direction of the things that you want, you've got to clean it up. You've got to take care of it, pay attention to it, like give it the right orders, tell it what what do you want it to do, and really train it. Because otherwise it will just be so unruly. And, we are coming up against reflections of our limitations all day, every day. If you don't want to live life like everybody else, if you want to do something different that maybe, nobody in your family has experienced, or nobody around you is necessarily experiencing, you have to create that inner world for yourself. Or, obviously working with mentors and other communities, but first and foremost in your own mind, in your own imagination, because otherwise you'll just continue to recreate whatever it is that you see around you. So yeah,
completely. And I think it's that thing, often people, unless they've done any mindset work, will think that they are a sum of their thoughts. That's who they are, their personality, not really realizing that actually you're the person behind those thoughts, and you can start to really take that control over them and really shape your internal world, which then creates a different world on your external, and what you actually start to receive in reality.
Yeah, amazing. Do your mindset work, people. Get up every day, do it. Even if it's for 5 minutes a day, it makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
Like teeth, it can literally take you 2 minutes, but maybe you're going to have more confidence to like kiss that person you're on a date with when you brush your teeth. That could end up changing your entire life. Like maybe you're going to, it's the same. If you do your mindset work, you're going to, ask for more money, or ask for the sale, or, take the action on that habit on that day, day after day after day after day. And it will, transform your future.
It really will. And it's that thing as well. If you're doing what you say you're going to do, like, so if you say I'm going to do mindset work every day, and then you do it, it really helps with building that confidence, because then that's part of the programming that you're giving yourself is, I'm someone who does what they say they're going to do. So then when you set yourself a goal, you're someone who does what they say they're going to do, rather than chipping away at your self-belief by not doing what the things that you say you're going to do.
That's it. Is that cultivating that self-belief is absolutely crucial. So give me a sneak peek insider into your relationship with your mindset work and your routine. Like, does it shift? Does it change? Like, how's it evolved for you over the years?
Oh, massively. I found a journal of mine from like years ago where I was writing like 10 daily gratitudes a day. And I was looking at them going, I remember that person. Like, I could remember the vibration that I was in when I was writing those. I was like, I thought I was really positive then, but I'm completely different now. I could literally feel it. I was picking up this journal going, oh my God. So I do change things up because I get bored otherwise. So I have a range of techniques that I use. I do a lot. Obviously, I'm doing imprinting all the time, but I'll change what the imprinting is in relation to the different goals that I'm working on. But I will do that every day without fail. And I just have a number of different techniques that I use. So if I've done one set last week, I'll just change it up this week so that I'm keeping things fresh for my brain. So I do that. I also find doing yoga and any sort of physical exercise with breath work really good for the body, really good for the meridians, really good for your fascia, which is really important in being able to manifest as well more quickly. So I find that that's really helpful for your own well-being, being able to, and it's that connection, isn't it, with your mind and your body and your soul. So I do EAM, I tune into the Akashic records, I read, I do meditations and physical. And the other thing I do with the yoga is doing my affirmations as I'm doing yoga.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's a really good one, particularly if you're finding a pose difficult.
Yeah, that is a really good one. I've heard other people say that works well for them as well. And I think I got from you, I remember we were chatting once when we were working together about how you were like, I don't take calls before 11 now. And you set that boundary. And then I was like, I'm going to steal that. So now I do that as well.
It's a life changer, isn't it?
Yeah. Because then it's like, you know, because talking about taking care of your body, and the way that I see it is it's like, this is your receiver.
Yeah.
So when it's too busy or it's painful or you're checked out, you're not like, you don't have your ear to the receiver. You don't get the messages from your intuition, from your soul. You know, those little hits and that guidance that can completely change the course of everything. So, you know, one of the biggest things that I am like obsessed with is getting good sleep, obviously, as somebody who's a burnout recoverer, because again, that's another thing that is just degrading the way that most people live and has become like a social norm that, you know, people watch screens late at night, people just drink coffee in the morning, people, you know, drink alcohol and like stay out late, and that's a cultural norm. So you really have to resist that in order to protect that rejuvenation time for your body. And it, you know, it takes a conscious choice, especially. And I think this is why sleep is so hard, because your decision making capacity at the end of the day is at its lowest. So that's when you're just like, oh, I'll just like watch a couple more episodes on Netflix, or I'm just gonna stay on YouTube in my phone, you know, rather than like turning all the screens off and like actually winding down and going to sleep. But it's, you know, it's those decisions which, when you wake up after an 8 hours of sleep, like your life is completely different to if you're, you know, scraping by on 6 hours, or, you know, whatever it is that most, you know, that suits your body.
Yeah, completely. And obviously we can now choose to not do anything before 11 because we've got our own businesses. But I remember trying to fit in doing personal development work before 8 o'clock in the morning, so I had to get out the door to go to work. It just makes me exhausted thinking about that now. Thinking I'm so grateful that we can have the capacity to be able to create these times where we can do that rejuvenation. Because like you say, for me, the self-care is absolutely key. I never want to burn out again. I was talking about this with my clients last night, actually. Somebody talked about feeling burnt out, and we did a bit of a poll who's had burnout. And I say about half of the people on the call had burnout put their hands up. And I just thought, this is the cultural thing, isn't it? Around the keep going, without it being really the culture of honoring and respecting your body, filling it up with nutrition, having that self-care time, being the norm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, you know, there's probably like other people outside of the people who acknowledge that they have burnout, who are burnt out but haven't acknowledged it yet. Because you know, sometimes it just, you think, oh, well, everyone else is living like this and everyone else is functioning, so this just must be how we live our life, until you get to that point where your body's like, no, it's not. Like it is, you know, at a cost. And then you really feel it when you hit that wall. And I think sometimes it takes getting to that point to really start to make it a non-negotiable to honor your body. Because when you don't have health and you don't have energy, you have nothing. You know, you have nothing to do the things that you love, or, you know, you're like grouchy in your relationships because you have nothing to give when your tank is completely empty. So if you're listening to this and you haven't had a burnout,
pay attention.
Sometimes you just have to let people, you know.
Yeah, it's just, it's listening.
Before they learn that lesson. But yeah, really like listening to your body. That's like the foundation of energy work, of connecting to your intuition, of knowing what it is that you desire, and knowing what's a good decision for you and what's not, based on your own sovereignty, not what everyone else is telling you, or not what your parents thought was a good idea for you, or your grandparents, or your teachers, or your bosses, you know. And that's really, you know, taking your power back. It starts with taking care of your body.
So important. It is that thing, and knowing that you can make these decisions for yourself rather than having to look to everybody else about whether I should do this or that. It's just, listen to your intuition and follow that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of your incredible wisdom with us today, Louisa. And can you please tell us, I think you have something to share with everyone who's listening. Can you tell us about that?
Do. So I have got, and I love doing activations and guided visualizations, and helping people take themselves and doing that self-healing through activations. And so I have an abundance activation for all your amazing listeners. So I'll give you the link so that they can download it. So this will help people to expand their capacity to receive more abundance.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. And where can people find you if they want to learn more about your work?
They can find me. So I'm on all the social media platforms, and I've got a website, which is www.louisahavers.com.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everybody for watching. For more inspirational content, head over to my website withsarahmac.com, and please support the show by liking, commenting, and subscribing.